you're a Melbourne lad, and now you're playing in the first ever A-League Melbourne Derby Grand Final. You're buzzing for the occasion?
Yeah, for sure. I think making a grand final's one thing, but the fact that it's never been a derby, Melbourne Victory versus Melbourne City, it's pretty special, and it sets for a great occasion.
I mean, you signed for Melbourne City after a fantastic career in Europe. Are these the type of games that you came back home to play in?
Yeah, for sure. I think when I first signed at Melbourne City, I knew there was a high expectation and a club that looks for success. And I think as soon as I got back, I saw the high standards and the quality of players. So I think for my time here, it's been quite successful. We've obviously fell short at some grand finals, but we've always put ourselves in a position to win something.
Lex, you've always been a guy who's really put Australian football first. You think of what you've done with the Socceroos and that sort of thing. How special is it for you to say, sell out a crowd, should be an absolute blockbuster? It feels like it's going to be the biggest derby ever, let's be honest.
Yeah, it's amazing that the tickets were sold so fast. It would be great if that was the case all the time, but to see that the tickets were sold so quick, obviously, it's a big occasion and everyone's excited for it. So we are too. There's nothing better than a full stadium and the experience of being out there to compete in front of on that stage, and also, potentially do something special is, I'm guessing, all the motivation every player needs to go out there and give everything.
Are you in a position where you can put your hand up for a start now?
Yeah, I think obviously it's the most important game of the season, and it's the final game. After this, there's a break, and I guess you work hard all season to get to this point. So I'm sure everyone's going to put their hand up, and I'm one of them. So we'll see.
Do you feel capable of going 120 minutes if needed, Matt, as well, given that we could have extra time and even penalties?
Yeah, look, it's been a while since I played that long. I think the last time was final series last year, but I'm willing to go out there and just play until I can. So whether that's to make an impact off the bench or to start a game and see how long I can play, I'm ready for both.
You mentioned there that you're going to break after this. Is that the case for you? Because we do have a Socceroo squad being named the day after the grand final. Are you going to be named in that one, or are you just planning on having a break?
Haven't heard anything, so not too sure. I haven't spoken to any of the boys that are also potentially, in contention. But obviously the full focus has been on this game, and what happens next, we'll have to wait and see.
Lex, you're one of a heap of Melburnians across the two teams playing in this grand final. How special is that? Because I think people don't always talk about Victoria as like a real football breeding ground, but there's a heap of you across both sides of the divide this weekend.
Yeah, I think Melbourne in general is obviously a massive city for sports, and I get the recognition in football isn't always there, but I think by how quick the tickets were sold. It's an occasion that everyone's interested in and wants to get around. So, derbies are, always a clash where, the team wants to be the best in their city. And I think we've had a consistent year, and we've got one last game to put it all together and give ourselves a chance.
What would it mean for you personally, having, you made the big move to come back from Europe to play for Melbourne City, if you can lift that trophy at the end of this week, especially after playing,
Yeah, it'll mean a lot. I came back wanting to be successful. I think I came back at a good age, and the one thing that I haven't been able to do is win a grand final. So third time lucky. I think we've had like I said, we've had a really consistent season, and if we can play to the best of our ability and put it all together, I think we've got a real strong chance. In saying that, we understand Victoria's strengths, and they're a quality side, and they've proven that they've gone all the way from a fifth position. So they've also got the right mentality and the players to give us a hard time, so we've got to be on our game.
We talked about yourself as a local Melbourne lad, but you look at that leadership group that you've got there at City, yourself, as is Jimmy, Andy, you're all local Melburnians. Does that make it a bit more special as well that this local leadership group will lead the club into a Melbourne Derby Grand Final?
I think the mix of players that we have here is really good this season. Across the whole A League, the squads are a little bit younger and there's a little bit more inexperience, and we've gone through some challenges this year where young players have had to step up and they've done really well. So I guess our role is to keep everyone sort of humble, grounded, and work hard, and it's a good stepping stone for them to get some A League time and really prove themselves that they belong here. And I guess we can just keep them level-headed to work hard and hopefully go on to do more in their career in the future.
Mate, you scored possibly the biggest, most important goal in Australian football history at the World Cup against Denmark. What's the secret to playing in big games like this and rising to the occasion?
I'm not too sure. I've always felt across my career that I've always loved playing in these type of atmospheres where it's full stadium. It sort of puts you in the zone, and with the noise in the crowd, there's nothing else more motivating, and it sort of makes you go to another level, and sort of you get that extra energy. So I'm sure both sides will be, giving everything and 100% fully committed to play till they drop, and I think it's going to be a high intensity, high quality game.
Lex, you're one of the few players I think that still aren't on either of these teams now that was around for that, probably the darkest night where there was the pitch invasion and it just come off the grand final decision. It was a really terrible time for the league. When you fast forward a few years now, I mean, how do you reflect on that in terms of how far things have come again? Because it feels like the vibes couldn't be any higher than they are right now.
Yeah, I think obviously that situation was something that, if we could go back in time, would hope it wouldn't have happened, but things happen. I think there's been ups and downs in the league in terms of, fans, how many people attend games, and COVID was a major factor as well. So slowly the league is trying to grow again and getting eyes to games and coming to the stadiums, and I'm sure most clubs and us especially are working hard off the pitch to try to get connected with communities to get us sort of a good fan base. So I don't know the exact time frame, but I'm sure I believe that the tickets were sold very quickly, and it's a good sign, and it shows that this game and a derby like this is important to people.
You've spoken about before, Aziz so well for years and years with the national team, that sort of thing. What's he brought to the table with the armband this season?
Yeah, Aziz has been great. Obviously, we've known each other for a long time. We were both fortunate to, lift the Asian Cup together, and we've been in the national team for many years, and had a good relationship away from that as well. So to have him back here, it's a really good mate in the football world. But his leadership's been good. He's he's a pretty calm guy, but when he has to be serious or put his foot down, he's there to do that. So, like I said, I think the combination and the mix this season of experience and a couple of in the mid range, and then the younger boys, it's come together good.
I spoke with Andy Naboot earlier in the week about the role he sort of played, unable to play. Couldn't help but draw parallels between what he's done this season and what Boyley did at the World Cup. As far as vibe managers go, how are they similar? How are they different?
I think Andy's just a top professional, and younger players could look at him and see the tough times that he's gone through injuries, and how professional and how much he still sticks to trying to do all the right things and get back and stay committed to the team. Obviously, for majority of the season, he hasn't been able to be a part of match day things or away trips, away games. But he's always, putting in what he can, throughout the week. And as I said, he's an ultimate professional. He's doing all the right things and working super hard to get back. Even though it's a long-term injury, after a month he's pushing boundaries to try to get back. So it's the type of quality you need to have a successful career, and young boys can learn a lot from that.
Has he tried to ping you with a few fines this year? I heard he's in charge of that.
Yeah, he's pretty consistent. So if you're doing the wrong thing, you get a fine, and it's good. It's for the players. It goes into a little bit of a kitty. So if we go for dinners and stuff like that, majority of the time it's a bit of fun.
And just last one from me, mate. You obviously spent so much of your career in Germany playing in front of passionate fan bases and big crowds. I mean, we're going to get a big one on this one. What's it competing with? What's the biggest, most passionate crowd you've played in front of in your career in Germany or anywhere?
If I had to think about passionate, I would probably lead more towards international games against South American opposition. They're super passionate. I remember the Peru playoff was crazy. But a lot of the times, the South Americans, they live and breed football. So if I had to choose one, it would be, that.